Welcome to True North Financial Ministries. This is a video tutorial on how to use the Money Academy Excel web forms. My name is John Longwell. If throughout any point of this tutorial, if you have any questions, we ask that you please feel free to contact us through the website. You can either give us a call at 505-314-3470 or please just send us an email and we'll be happy to get back with you. We welcome any comments, questions, and suggestions on how we might be able to make this Excel tutorial a little bit better. We're by no means Excel experts, and so if there's some ways that you have to help us improve this, we'd certainly appreciate it, and we will readily incorporate it into the future implementations of the Excel web form. Okay, let's go ahead and look at the Money Academy Excel web form. We've set this up basically to be the digital Money Academy budget binder, as it includes all of the main worksheets such as your financial snapshot worksheet income, the financial snapshot sheet, the budget analysis sheet, your budget, as well as all of the category ledger pages that you will have in your budget binder. These sheets are identical to what you can actually download from our website on our forms sheet. And you can see right here, this is where you can download the Money Academy Excel forms. So a lot of those sheets that you would normally download, these are just worksheets that you can download and print. All of these have been incorporated into the Money Academy Excel forms. Let's go ahead and get started. One thing on formatting and setup. We've made this so that it is compatible with both Mac and PC. Today, the tutorial will be shown using the Microsoft Mac 2011 Excel version. The other one that we tested on was for PC, Microsoft Excel 2010. Once again, a couple of setting things that we would just like to bring to your attention. The first three worksheets, the income, the financial snapshot, and the budget analysis. Under Mac, you'll see that these have been set up in the page layout format, which is fine. It makes it a little bit easier to see all three of these worksheets. Of course, you can set them to whatever you'd like. However, once you get to the budget sheet and all of these other category ledger sheets, please make sure that your layout setting is set to normal. On the Mac, you will find this under Layout and then the normal setting. On the PC, you will find it under the View tab at the top, and then there's the layout that you will see, and you can go either between page layout or normal view setting. And once again, we need this to remain on normal view. The reason being, if you were to try to go to page layout, here's the message that you would get. Switching to page layout view will remove all frozen panes from this worksheet, and we do not want to do that because in the budget sheet as well as in all of the category ledgers, once we scroll down the page, you're going to see that the top rows are fixed. They are frozen in place so that it's much easier for you to see which column you are entering information into. Let's go to one of the giving pages. You will also see that this is true. These top four rows have been frozen so that as you're adding a bunch of information down the page, it will be very easy for you to see which column this information coincides with. That's really the only settings and format issue that we needed to show you. Let's go ahead and begin with the financial snapshot worksheet on the income side. A little rule of thumb that we've created is when you see blue, there's something to do. That simply means that once you see blue on the Excel form, this is an area where you're going to either be editing or entering your specific information about your budget. On the income sheet, you'll see that we have job 1, job 2, and job 3. This is just so that instead of calling it job 1, you can relabel this as plumber or cashier, or maybe put the person's name, Judy, John. You'll see that over here we've got this set up so that you can record actually two jobs. This specific situation works well for me because I have 2 jobs. I enter the main income from my primary job, and then my part-time job, I enter that information here. So here we have all of the salary information and then anything else that might apply to your specific situation. Anything that's ever in this gray background with the black text, all of these are going to automatically update as this data information changes. For example, instead of 2,000, if this was 2,500, we hit enter, you'll see that this has gone from 2,000 to 2,500. These are set up for your convenience, and you're going to see that we've already predefined many formulas and functions so that as you enter information on the financial snapshot worksheet, it's going to trickle down to the budget analysis, the budget, and to the category ledger page. We'll get into that more as we proceed. So you'll enter in all of your income information for all of your jobs, as well as the tax deduction information from your federal, state, social, and Medicare withholdings. So here we have the total gross income without having any of our deductions subtracted. These are all of the deductions which will automatically update, and then they will subtract from this total here. So this total is actually the gross minus the deductions, as well as this is the gross here. Now for multiple jobs, we'll see that all of these deductions relate to job 2. All of these deductions here relate to job 3. These are automatically added up here. The total is then subtracted from the gross total, and here's what we get once we have made all of those changes. At the very bottom here, you'll see the total net spendable income for all of the income on this page. So this is a result of the addition of this, and we get to this sum here. Now this net spendable income will then be carried over to the financial snapshot worksheet at the very bottom of the page right here. And you'll see, as I said before, that our functions and formulas will go ahead and trickle down this information as you go. That is really the benefit of using the Excel forms, so that all you really have to do is change information in 1 or 2 places. Maybe if your income changes, you'll go ahead and update it here. And then as some of your budgetary expenditures change, you will simply update them here. Once again, when you see blue, there's something to do. You can go ahead and modify any of these subcategories. We don't really recommend changing the names of the categories because as you go through the Money Academy, these are going to really relate as to the things that are being taught. So the areas where you can really do some changes is here with the subcategories. We do also recommend that if there is a subcategory that does not apply to your situation, don't delete this, simply change it to a 0, and then you can keep this in place. If you ever have another change or an addition to a subcategory, you can simply change the name of it, and then you've already got this subcategory in place, and it will automatically work with your category ledgers as we move forward. Now I want to show you how this works, how making changes here will affect the ongoing forms such as the budget analysis, budget, giving, and so forth. Let's go ahead and say that, and for the sake of demonstration, I'm going to go ahead and change giving from giving to donations. Now we'll see that donations has now changed. Actually, I should probably show you what it looks like originally. So here we have giving. We look on the budget analysis, we have the category of giving. We look on the budget, we have the category, let me go all the way to the top. We have the category of giving as well. And if we go to the giving category ledger sheet, we will also see the category name is giving. However, if we would like to change this category name to say donations, we simply need to do that and hit enter. Let's go ahead and change a subcategory name as well. Let's say like instead of giving to church, we're giving to something specific, such as the Red Cross. We hit enter. Now this has been updated on the financial snapshot worksheet. Let's go over to the budget analysis sheet. We see that giving has changed to donations here. Let's go to the budget sheet. We see that giving has changed from giving to donations. and the subcategory has changed from church to Red Cross. Once again, we go to the former giving category ledger page, and the category name has changed from giving to donations, and the subcategory name has changed from church to Red Cross. Now, the only thing that does not change is the tab name. To change the tab name, you simply need to right-click on the tab. Now, if you're a Mac user, you need to hold down Control and then hit your mouse. You hit rename, and we can simply rename this as donations. And then everything is consistent all the way across. Okay, so let's go back to the financial snapshot. So if you need to change any of your budgetary expenditures, this is where you will do it. You change any one of these, and once again, it will automatically update into the budget analysis page, into the budget page, as well as on to the actual category ledger page as well. We'll get into that a little bit further, a little bit more specifically. So the last thing that I'd like to point out on the financial snapshot worksheet is that once again, as these expenditures change, let's say like we have $10 in other under auto, we go from $480 and this will go to $490. All of these auto-tabulate for you so that you don't have to make any changes. You don't have to do the math. You don't have to do any of the additions. This gray area here you will never have to fill in. All you will need to do is change the expenditure amounts. At the very bottom here, you will see that we have a total of all of these category totals. So the total from school childcare all the way up to giving is added up here and seen in the total monthly expenses. Then we take this amount, we subtract it from our total net spendable income that comes over from the income side of the financial snapshot worksheet, and then we get our monthly difference. If it's a negative number, we will see it in red. If it's a positive number, it will be in green. So we see here that our budget is not balanced. We're actually $10 in the red. So what do? Let's go to one of our soft categories. Well, we wouldn't maybe automatically know to do that. So let's go to our budget analysis worksheet. Our budget analysis worksheet automatically tabulates the taxes. It brings over the net spendable income, and it also brings over the totals of all 13 of our categories. And it shows our total expenses amount there. We subtract this amount from this amount, and we see that we are $10 in the red. So what do? Well, obviously, we would go to our financial snapshot worksheet. We would look at one of the soft categories, such as entertainment, and we would say, well, maybe we need to lower our dining out budget by $10. Well, that's exactly what we've done here. Entertainment is at $293 for the category total. If we decrease the dining out by $10 a month, we'll now be at $283, and voila, our budget will be balanced. Congratulations. Let's now go ahead and make that change on the financial snapshot worksheet. So we're changing dining out from $100 to $90. We hit enter. We go to the bottom of the page, and indeed we see that we are exactly balanced with our budget. We go to the budget analysis sheet, and we do see that all of these expenditures are now in sync. So from the budget analysis sheet, let's go ahead and proceed to the budget sheet. Now the budget sheet has been set up to reflect the first payday and the second payday. As Mike and Karen suggested, if you get paid weekly, it's much easier for you to divide your month up into 2 paydays. So go ahead and just add up those first 2 paychecks and make them into 1 payday. Let's go ahead and look at and see how the budget has been set up. In a way, it kind of looks like the financial snapshot worksheet. That's because all of these things in blue, once again, these are going to be amounts that you change, but there's one little distinction. All of these amounts have actually been auto-populated from the financial snapshot worksheet. We've done that so that if things actually change, once again, all you'll have to do is change them on the financial snapshot worksheet. The only reason why this is in blue on the budget sheet is for this specific reason. Let's say like you have your food budget and you fund the food budget only once a month. So you fund it in the first pay period. So we don't actually need to fund it in the second period, but we see that by default, it's been auto-populated from the financial snapshot worksheet. All you need to do to override this is simply highlight the field and put a 0 in the box, hit enter, and it will go ahead and make it so that you have only funded the first payday. Okay, let me undo that for a moment because I'm going to show you another thing. Let's say like food is one of those categories that you typically, you need it throughout the month. And so let's say like instead of funding it in the first payday, let's say like you want to divide it up between the first and the second payday. Well, since it's auto-populated from the financial snapshot worksheet, all we need to do is click up here in the function box, do a / and the number 2. All we are doing is dividing this auto-populated amount by 2. We hit enter, and we're now going to see that the 550 has gone and it's been divided by 2 to 275. We do need to do that for the second payday because this is also auto-populated. We click in the function box, we hit / 2, which is simply dividing that amount by 2. We hit enter, and once again, this has also been divided by 2. So now we see that the category is divided in half. One half of it is funded on the first payday, and the second half of it is funded on the second payday. We're going to go ahead and leave that. Now, as I said, what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to go through each of these expenditures on your budget, and you're either going to need to leave it if it's funded in that payday, or you're going to need to put a 0 if it's funded in the second payday. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that up to you to do. The only other thing that you will change on your budget sheet is how the expense is paid. If it's paid by check, if it's auto-paid, maybe it's a cash envelope subcategory because it's not something that you regularly use, or maybe it's one of those areas like dining out that you need to have greater control over, so you are incorporating the cash envelope system. Whatever it is, you need to make sure that you change it in both places. Okay, so that should do it for the budget. The category ledger page has areas that are auto-populated from both the financial snapshot worksheet, as we see, the category name, as well as the subcategory name are auto-populated from the specific areas, donations, and Red Cross. So as this changes, so will all of the other sheets change as well. It's important to remember this. We've done this for your ease, and also make sure that you don't make changes on your category ledger pages to these areas. If it's black, just remember, leave it alone. If it's blue, there's something to do. If it's black, you don't need to do anything because these areas are either going to auto-tabulate or they're going to auto-populate from some area earlier within the Excel web forms. So here we see, this is very similar to the category ledger sheets that you will see that you download, that you use in your budget binders, with a few exceptions, and I'm now going to go over that. You'll see that along the bottom, we have a different tab for each category. Now, within your budget binder, you may have a lot of different subcategory sheets. For the ease of use on the Excel forms, what we do is we have the one category, which you can see, it goes all the way across, and we have the subcategories that are horizontally going across the page. I've chosen housing just because this is the category with the most subcategories. So we see we're in the second category, we're on the first subcategory of housing, which is mortgage. And then we go to cable. And then as we go across, you'll see that we have the internet. And then we have Netflix, all the way to the very end until we get to housing other. As we move along, you'll see that the subcategories alternate in color from white to blue. This just makes it a little bit easier for you to see as the subcategories change. Here we have the first payday and the second payday. These are auto-populated from the budget sheet. But you see here on our mortgage that we have both the first and the second paydays amounts being $950. Well, that's probably not accurate, but by default on the budget sheet, we've got it auto-populated on both the first payday and the second payday. So in my case, we actually do not fund the first payday. So I'm going to put that as a 0. We only fund the second payday because we need to set aside that money for the first of the month that's going to be coming up so that we pay the next month's rent. So now we've got our 0 on the first payday. We've got our $950 on the second payday. Let's go back to our housing category. And indeed, you will see that now the first payday is 0. The second payday is actually $950. Perfect. And you will also see that the annual expense for the subcategory of mortgage is the combined amount of the first payday plus the second payday times 12 right there, which is for, of course, 12 months. Okay, one thing that you will not see on the category ledger sheets that you download or that are in your budget binder is this row here called current category total. We've included this with the Excel web forms because it is a really handy thing, and also it's something that you can do within Excel. As you fund, you may simply be moving funds to one category, and so this is the total amount of funds that are in that category. This is real time, and this will actually coincide if you have set up maybe your bank account to have the category totals. You might be able to look at a specific category and see that complete amount. And then also, as you move over into the subcategories, we see that we have a current subcategory total. Now, this becomes really handy. Let's look at a category, for instance, like auto. Auto is one of those categories that has a subcategory called registration and emissions. This is one of those areas that really only is paid once a year when you register your vehicle and you have to do emissions. And so you may be putting aside $9 every first and second payday in order to fund this category, but you may actually only pay this category once a month, or I'm sorry, once a year. And so it would be helpful to see, well, how much have we actually allocated for the registration and emissions? What's the total amount that's in that from what we have funded? And that's what this current subcategory total is for. It will show you how much money you have actually put in that account. So let's go ahead and enter an actual expense from our, let's go ahead and use food. So we've got a new expense. We went to Walmart, we spent $5.38 on a grocery item. And then I always just put a 0. Just makes things a little bit neater, a little bit cleaner. Okay, these are the areas that you fill in. You'll fill in the date, you'll fill in the transaction information, the details. You'll put whether it was a deposit, whether you funded that account, or whether or not you had a withdrawal. This is just like the budget binder. However, unlike the budget binder, you do not have to do any of the math. These are set up. We've already put in these first 3 fields basically just to set up the formulas. And I'm going to go ahead and just enter a couple of different other amounts. $7.23. We went to Albertsons and we spent, let's say $10. Okay. Now, in order to see the balance in this specific category, now this is the same on both PC and Mac. You click on this box here, move your cursor over until it changes from a white plus to a black plus. You're going to go to the lower right-hand corner, and you're going to go ahead and drag this down. Once you do that, the balance will automatically update. Now, you can go ahead and enter in a lot of different expenses. Let's say we went to Smith's, and we spent $12. Okay. Now, all you have to do is go there. If you want to do the balance for all of these, click on this field, go to the bottom right corner over that little where it's highlighted. Make sure that your plus sign is black. drag this down until you get to the very last field. And what you're going to see, oh, and I forgot to make that a subtract. Okay. You're going to see that this automatically, the balance has been updated. That's really the only thing that you have to do. If you're not an Excel person, that's the only thing that you really have to do in order to make the balance work. However, what you're also going to see is that even if you never did that, let's go ahead and undo all of that. Even if you never did that, your current balance has still been, let me put that back to negative 12. Your current balance is actually still here in the current subcategory total. Once again, if we do this, we drag all these down, you'll see that this field here, 102.62, is the exact same as your current subcategory total. So this is another nice thing, and it's also nice too that, say that if, when you first log on to the page and you simply just want to see how much is in this particular category. Now with food, the current category total is going to be the same as the current subcategory total because we've only got one subcategory. But let's say like you go to something like housing, the current subcategory total, let's say, okay, we've funded a certain amount, like for housing repairs, homeowners fees, okay, for repairs. This is also one of those categories that you may not be making repairs all the time, but it will be very helpful for you to see the current subcategory total for the funds that you've allocated for the housing repairs. And it's very simple to do as things change. 25, we have, we went to Home Depot. We had to buy some light bulbs. The light bulbs were $7.50. And we see that now the balance has gone from 130 to 122.50. And to find the balance, once again, all we have to do is highlight that, make sure it's a black plus, pull it down, and it is indeed at 122.50. Okay, the last thing that I'm going to show you how to do is actually just kind of a little freebie. On our budget binders, we have a little place where we put our paper receipts within each category ledger section. Now, just because we are using digital forms doesn't mean that we also cannot include digital receipts. Now, if you have a smartphone, this will be a very easy process. There's a lot of apps for a lot of the different smartphones, both iPhone and Androids, that will allow you to scan your receipts. I'm going to give you a name of the one that we have actually been using, it's free and it works very well. We use it for the Samsung Galaxy 4. I'm not sure if there is a version of it available for iPhone. You'll need to check that. But if not, I'm sure there's a lot of other free scanner apps that you can use. We like this one. It works very well for what we need. It works well with the Android platform. What you do is you take a picture of your receipt and then you simply email it to yourself. Once it's emailed, I'm going to go ahead and show you what that looks like. Once it's emailed, you're going to go ahead and you're going to receive. You'll see it comes in, scan, it kind of numerically shows them, scan, and it will show you exactly what your receipt looks like. It's really cool. And you'll see here that it looks just like the regular receipt. So then what I do is I save this to a folder on my desktop. And my desktop, it's labeled Money Academy Receipts. And then what I do is, okay, here's the shorthand that I use for the receipt. Let me go ahead and move this over so you can see it a little bit better. Okay, so I put the date, so it was 7/24, I believe, 2014. And then I put a shorthand for the category. So this was basically going to be entertainment because this was just a burrito, I believe. Entertainment, I put the amounts, let me get that, which was $4.23. And then I hit save. Okay. Here we go. Now, let's close that out. So I'm going to go to my entertainment category. And this is going to be under dining out. I'm going to put the date. I'm going to put that it was at the Warrior, which is a little local gas station here. It was $4.23. Okay, go ahead and put my placeholder 0. Now, if I would like to, there's one of two ways that you can do this. This works for both PC and Mac. Here's one way that you can do this. it requires you to actually maintain your receipts folder somewhere on your computer, which is okay. So what you do is you will either right click and you will put insert, you will click on the hyperlink, or you'll actually go up to the top and you will click on the hyperlink. Either way, it gets you there. You'll make sure that this is on document. You'll go select. In this case, this actual document is on my desktop. And there we have the receipt that we just saved. Click on it, hit OK, and now you will see that this field has become a hyperlink. So if I click on this, it's going to give you this little, would you like to show this? And now you can see that you have your receipt. It's very easy to see what it was for. Actually, the date that I have on that is wrong. I have to change that to 7/23. And everything is very easy to see. This works well on both the PC and on the Mac. The only thing is that it is not actually embedded in the Excel form. And so, even when we hit save, you still have to make sure that you have this link to wherever it is that your receipts are being stored. Now that's okay. It's not that much real estate to create another folder on your computer. However, if you are using your computer and you're sharing the Excel form maybe between you and your wife, or maybe you've got your computer at work and your computer at home and you want to update your Excel form at either one of those places, here's an easy solution to that problem. All you need to do is create a receipt folder in a free service like Dropbox. And that's exactly what we've done. We have a receipts folder within our Dropbox. And you'll see that we have our Sprint bill and our housing water bill. And then all I did was I created a desktop icon for that so that it's basically got the same thing. And what's great about this is I have Dropbox on my home computer, and you can see my receipts there. And then when I go to work, I've also got Dropbox on my work computer. So if I'm at work and I want to save one of my receipts or look at my Excel, it's great because we've actually not only saved our Excel receipts on our Dropbox, we've actually saved the Excel form in Dropbox as well. It makes it very accessible from anywhere that you go. Okay, so that's one way of going about this. Now, if you have a Mac, there's actually another way that you can do this that actually embeds the receipt right into the Excel form itself, and it is really handy. I'm going to walk you through the steps on how to do this. There's quite a few steps involved. So once again, what you do is you click on that field where in the transaction field, right click again, and you're going to insert a comment. Now, if you can't right click or you forget how to do that, then simply go insert new comment. And now we will see that there's a new comment. Now we want to format the comment. So we hit format comment. We need to go to the colors and lines tab. We hit the down drop on color, go to fill effects, and now we go to picture. Now we're going to select a picture. I'm going to once again go to my desktop, go to my Money Academy receipts folder, and find the receipt that we need to include. You find that receipt, you hit insert, hit OK, and now what we have here is the receipt has been set to the background of my comment. And so now whenever I go to this particular thing and I hover over it, I can see the receipt right there within my Excel web form. Now the drawback of this is that once it's embedded in here, if you delete it from the folder, that's fine, but you cannot actually print this if you needed to print it. So regarding digital receipts, if you've got a big ticket item, or if there's something specific that you need the receipt for, make sure that you keep the original copy of the paper receipt. And also because if you need to return one of those items and then you go and you try to print the receipt, a lot of businesses will not take a printed copy. They need the original receipt. I've had that issue with Walmart before. You can actually print from the hyperlink, which is fine. You can go here, it'll bring it up, and then you can simply go to print and it will give you the option to print the receipt. That's fine, but once again, you're printing a scanned digital copy of the receipt. So if it's important for you to have the receipt, go ahead and keep the original copy. If not, You can either do it as a hyperlink, or you can do it as, on the Mac, you can do it as a comment. All right, this is going to conclude the tutorial on how to use the Money Academy Excel forms. Once again, if you do have any questions, comments, or if you have any suggestions for us, we sure do welcome that. Please feel free to give us a call or send us an email via our website, which is truenorthministries.org. Thank you so much and have a blessed day.